If you teach math or science, at some point you're going to need to display an equation to your students. The equation that you see on screen is in a file called attenuationoflight.png located in the Chapter 3 exercise files. But most teachers do not have the time or resources to be able to go through and create every single equation that they may need to use throughout their course in a graphics editor. So in this movie, we're going to step through using the built-in equation editor that's inside of the HTML editor in Moodle. So to get started, make sure you're inside of your course and you have editing turned on. Now we want to add a link to the vertical attenuation of sunlight with depth equation right here inside the lecture materials, but we don't want to display that right on the main page. We want to have it so that it's a link that takes the students to a secondary page that has that information. So to do this, simply scroll down to the bottom of the Week 1 block, click the drop down for Add a Resource, and this time we're going to create a page. We need to name the page Vertical Attenuation of Sunlight with Depth Equation. For the description, simply select that text, press Command or Control C on your keyboard to copy it, and then simply paste it into the description field. Next, scroll down to the content section and paste that text one more time into the page content description. Hit the Return key on your keyboard, and let's go ahead and access the equation editor by hitting the Insert Equation tool in the bottom row of icons. The DragMath equation editor begins to open up. Now you may get a warning saying that an applet from your local host or your local computer is requesting access to your computer. Go ahead and hit the Allow button, and the default equation editor comes up. Let's go ahead and use this editor to enter in the equation that we saw earlier. To do this, simply click inside of the bottom section and begin by going to the second tab, and we want to start with using the subscript tool. So click on the subscript tool and you'll see two boxes appear on your screen. We'll type a capital I in the primary box, and in the subscript box, we're going to type a lowercase z. Click back on the first tab in order to access the common math functions, and hit the equal sign, and then click down in the bottom. This will insert the equal into the equation. Getting the next part of the equation is kind of tricky, and for many equations, it's going to require you to spend a little bit of time figuring out the exact order in which you need to create items. To create the second part of our equation, we're going to go back to the second tab, and we're going to start off by adding the superscript tool and clicking in the box. This will add the two boxes for us for our primary letter and our superscript. Let's begin by editing the superscript. Click up in the top, and now we want to go to the third tab where it has our groupings, and click on the parentheses box and click that into the superscript. Now, simply type minus with a lowercase k, go up to the first tab, we'll access our product tool, and then type in a capital Z. And you'll notice that the equation editor automatically put an extra set of parentheses around our lowercase k. We're going to go ahead and just leave this here like that. Finally, let's add our I sub 0 to the first term. Go back to the second tab, and now we want to insert the subscript tool by clicking on the subscript and then clicking in the box again. This will then allow us to type in a capital I for our primary letter, and in our subscript, type in the number 0. Our equation is looking pretty good now. This is pretty much what we want. There are a lot of other tools that are here available to you if you need some additional functions for the particular equation that you're writing. Go ahead and hit the Insert button, and you'll see a strange line of text. This is the actual code that it would take in order to duplicate the equation that we wrote out. Simply hit Return on your keyboard, and now we're going to provide the students with a listing of the various different variables that we've added. We're going to type in capital I space equals space available sunlight, hit Return, capital Z space equals space depth, hit Return, and K space equals attenuation coefficient. Go ahead and scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and click Save and Return to Course. Now when we scroll down to the bottom of our first block, we can see here's the link to our page. Let's go ahead and click the Move tool and drag it up to the top just above where our image is located. And let's go ahead and use the Move Right tool to bring it back into alignment. Now let's go ahead and check and see what it looks like. Go ahead and click on the link and our page shows up. We can see that our equation has been added in here nicely. We have our description as to what the item is, and we have our listing of our variables down below. Go ahead and click on the BIOL 432 in your breadcrumbs to return back to your main course. This walkthrough of the HTML editor has been just a quick overview as to all of the basic tools that are built into the HTML editor for you. I encourage you to spend some time exploring all of the different tools so that you can make sure that your page shows up in its best possible way.